All right, let's talk about some weird shit, like really weird shit. Okay, so listen, there's a series of, referred to generally in the KM system, like long gun takedown, machine gun takedown, looks and things like that. Generally speaking, the concept is like they're slung or they frame in a very specific way, and all of that. We're gonna look at these really quick. We're gonna look at a couple of options based off of this, what this might look like, and some things along those lines. This is just for visual purposes. If you train these and you're using, like, you know, in this case, like this has a bolt in it that shoots off sim rounds and stuff like that. But if you're using even training guns, I mean, you can bust teeth out, you can land it. They're real shitty to be able to do training wise. But I want you to see like the visualization of this. He's got this to my back, the theory behind a lot of this. And again, we're not gonna get into efficacy and whatever. It's just like, let's look at techniques, let's analyze them. If I turn, I can absolutely grab on here and I can start working my basic. But the concept being, if I want, I can get to the back. And so I can be hugging up in tight, holding onto the weapon and get to the back. From here in this place where I'm kind of holding onto the arm, I've got a couple of different versions of takedowns, ways that I can rip through if I'm concerned maybe about the fact that he's slung and I can't necessarily take the long gun off of him. Or if I just want to blast him on his head, which also works, right? So, and this is like set up for me, so it looks like very tiny on him. But anyway, if he comes out of this, you'll also see these shown oftentimes with handguns, and maybe he's, you know, walking me like weird framing on the backside shoulder, and I don't feel like I can go this direction. So I'm turning this direction, scooping, clearing, getting towards the back as far as that goes, okay? So take that for what it is as far as the baseline, but let's look at a couple of things. If I do end up on his back, right? So let's say I end up on his back in this position and I have a couple of fun little grips that I can play around with. We're gonna look at, yes, I could break him down and wrestle him. Yes, I could do things a little more mechanically. Yes, if I have a weapon, I can pull that out and start to use it. But we're gonna look at specifically the idea of, I wanna fuck his head up. Like really, really bad. I want to blunt force trauma into concrete, essentially the way I want to look at it. We're going to look at 4 ways that may option, actually 5. We're going to show the little trippy one too. So the first one, the one you'll commonly see in the KM system, machine gun takedown, holding in nice and tight here. I'm going to go European uppercut. Usually I'm trying to think about grabbing onto a belt buckle if he had one. So I'm not half-assing this as far as my grip goes. I'm going to use my legs, essentially to squat deadlift him up. I'm going to pull his hips out from underneath him and try to drive him onto his face. So I'm coming up nice and tight from underneath, using my legs to lift, pulling his hips out, boom, and dropping him on his head. In theory, I would actually go to the floor with him. So I would use my awesome 170 pounds of additional weight as I go high in, up, right, and drop him on his head. The thought with like a long gun is, well, they're probably occupying both their hands. Maybe they can't base and frame properly. But even with a handgun, even if I don't have control of the gun, I'm picking him up and I want to spike him on his freaking head, right? So that would be the option or the idea there. Another one that we looked at tonight was our reverse double, okay? I can voluntarily do this. Again, if he's slung, it might be a good option. But even if I lose control of the gun, he like kind of rips the gun away and I'm on his back, I have my reverse double. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to center my low real here. I'm using my shoulder into his butt. I'm going to drive forward to get him off the weight of his toes, and I'm going to rip his feet backwards. Okay, to put him on his face, oof, up over top. Again, theoretically, once we hit the floor with that, I would then want to cover, get right over top, pin the gun, beat the hell out of him if he's not already unconscious. So that's option number 2, another one to play with. Option number 3, we have kind of like our body lock takedown. I'm going to come around the corner, I'm going to lift him, I'm going to give a little kind of like chop block across his knee. But in theory, if this is where I'm going with this, I want to put him on his head. So I literally want to focus so much on getting the concrete to just smash his head this direction. So from that backside position with my grip, I'm going to cut the corner on him just to be able to chop block this knee and be able to hold this in. I'm going to hip in, and then once I feel his weight start to go, I'm going to over-exaggerate the weight turn with my little chop block or with my foot sweep, and my goal again is to actually get him to land on his head here. If I have my little chop, we're going in. Big hips underneath. Once I feel him over, onto his head, let's go over, get my shot. Basic body lock takedown, but again, I'm trying to carry him over. So I gotta cut that corner. Here. Oh shit. Take lower top. Option number, I don't know, this is 4 now. I have this far side, okay? And we see this a lot, like I use this takedown a lot in grappling. I'm gonna turn my hips, preferably towards the side I'm looking, in this case, preferably towards the elbow side. I'm gonna flip my hips and almost do like a reverse tie toe shot here. So my knee's gonna drop, my foot's gonna go that way. Again, over exaggerating how fast and aggressive I do that, and over exaggerating putting him onto his dome as we go hit. Again, without actually pulling him, I would do this super fast and aggressive here, and I'm ripping him up over top. Very, 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 very hard. Very awesome, right? And then option number 5, another good one to look at. Okay, maybe I'm not gonna spike him on his head, but what I am gonna do, especially if he's hunkering down here, is I'm gonna rip up. I'm gonna grab whatever I can get a hold of. I might be able to come all the way across his neck, grab his ear. I might even grab into his jaw. If he's got a hood, I might grab his hood. If he has a sling, I might pull his sling, whatever. But I'm coming all the way across and I'm gonna rip. We're gonna do this slow for training purposes. But in real life, I'd be coming across and I'm trying to pop his chin, whatever, rip his neck. I'm not thinking I'm gonna break his neck like the Predator or anything crazy, but I might, who knows? But it's aggressive, right? I'm not gonna do this super fast, but I would come through and I would rip with everything in me, pulling his head towards the floor. Super aggressive, right? So again, whatever your beliefs are on how we got there, if I find myself on the back and I want to be spiking him on his head, those are 5 good options. Down low, chip across the back, reverse double, rip the head, turn the opposite direction. Have some fun, check it out, play around, be very cautious, very safe with your training partners. Use crash pads, use soft training guns, all that type of fun stuff. We'll see you next time.